Listen, from the big winner of the night to the biggest disappointment.
Glenna Milberg is live now at Marco Rubio's rally on the FIU campus in southwest Miami-Dade. A little quiet there tonight, I bet, Glenna.
Oh, it is quiet now, and it's fairly empty in the lobby. Calvin, Lori, it was really a surprise to these people when they heard Marco Rubio say, "I am suspending my campaign," because remember, up until really this afternoon, he said, no matter what happens today, I will go on. He said he would be in Utah tomorrow, and so it really came as a shock to hear those words. I want to show you some video of what this room was just packed like just a little while ago. The race was actually called, as you know, about 8:03. It was right after the polls closed in the Panhandle, the western part, closed really early because Donald Trump had such a decisive lead. Even though Rubio was far ahead in the early voting and the absentee, those numbers just couldn't match what Trump got 2-1. Actually, reflecting the polls that we had seen, especially the last Quinnipiac poll, what happened was really reflected in that poll. Marco Rubio knows he just did not have the math. He didn't have the path. He suspended the campaign. He sounded reflective at first and then sounded more than anything angry about the tone that this whole race has taken and the division not only in the party but in the country.
And quite frankly, there's millions of people in this country that are tired of being looked down upon, tired of being told by these self-proclaimed elitists that they don't know what they're talking about and they need to instead listen to the so-called smart people. And I know all these issues firsthand. I've lived paycheck to paycheck.
You hear Marco starting to talk about that same campaign theme, his background, how humble background he has, and this was the kind of thing that really connected with the audience that was here, his base of voters who share his, not only his background, his language, his humble beginnings, and that's what people really connected with. And you heard all of these people yelling at him, go to the convention, go to the convention. So may I just say, a suspended campaign in political talk is not an ended campaign, but right now it looks like it is over for now for Marco Rubio. I'm Glenna Milberg at FIU Arena tonight, Local 10 News.
And that is one of the big headlines for tonight. Glenna, thanks a lot from FIU.